Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, before we start here, I want to say that we're going to get back on track with a regular release of content at some point. But, like I said in every video, I started this new job, and actually, look at me. I got crap all over me. I work up there in this place, man. They make steel parts. And I'm up there lifting this heavy shit all day. And my day starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm exhausted when I get home. And just, you know. But I have a game that I want to show you guys. And this is against a subscriber. And I want to go over this with you guys. Because I think there's a couple of key points in this game that are kind of instructive. And me and him were also going to go over the game. But it ended up not working out, so he's going to be able to watch this and see my analysis of the game. So we start out with technical problem. All right, so he plays the Caro, and we get the mainline Caro. He takes, I take with the knight, and we get a Tarta Tower. Okay, so I take, he takes, and I play this move. I don't know the book theory for the Tarta Tower that well, but I know that this bishop coming to this diagonal causes me a lot of trouble every time that I play against this. So I thought, I'll play here, put pressure on this, or, control this diagonal myself, so you can't come out to this diagonal, right? And that'll be good for me. Or he could, but he's going to lose the bishop if he does so, right? But he plays this. And I thought this is a really good move. This is a really good move. Because you're hitting this. I got to defend it. And the only way that I could defend it is one of these two moves. And I don't want to play either of those. So I thought about it. And I played this move. And I thought, okay, I'll just give up this pawn. No big deal, because maybe I come back, or maybe I just go ahead and develop another piece, whatever. But that's fine if he takes this, because I'm going to get a lot of development out of this. But the only person I outsmarted here was me, because he just takes my fucking bishop. So, oops. And he asked me after the game if I meant to do that. And no, I absolutely did not mean to do that. And, it kind of... When you play somebody, I'm a little over 400 points higher rated than this guy. So when you play somebody, like if I were to play a 1900, you kind of look at that person like, this person's so much better than me, and they're not going to make mistakes. People make mistakes at all levels. And unless you're playing Magnus Carlsen, your opponent's going to make mistakes, even if they're rated way higher than you. I just blundered a full piece like a moron, just full bishop. So when you play against somebody, you got to keep in mind, like, they're going to make mistakes. No matter how good they are, no matter how much higher rated than you they may be, they're going to make mistakes. So keep that in mind. So he takes the bishop, and I develop the knight. I don't know what the best move is. I bring the knight out because I got to get pieces into the game. The only thing that I have going for me is I've got 2 pieces in the game, and he's got 1. It's minus 4.37 here, dude. He's crushing me. So I got to try to find any advantage that I can. Now, he brings out the bishop. And I play this. And the reason that I played this is I can't castle this side because of the queen. And I know that I'm in trouble. I'm not going to be able to just grind you down and win a +1 pawn endgame and convert this game into a win. I have to take some chances and try to make some things happen. So I'm thinking here, if you want to... First of all, he took my light squared bishop, which means this bishop is a uncontested monster. Look at this. Look at these weaknesses right here. Right? This weak diagonal. Right? This is the only direction that I could castle. And that bishop is able to look right in here. Right? I can't castle this side because of the queen, and I don't have a bishop to challenge it. So I play this to entice him to take, which he does. And I take back. But the main idea, I did want to get rid of the bishop, but I want to open this up. Because, like I said, I know that I can't just grind you down and beat you now. I'm going to have to make something happen. And I think if I could get you to castle here and I could line a rook up, bishop over to here, maybe there's a world where the queen gets over here too, rook here, I could put some pressure down the g-file. So I get rid of your monster bishop, and I open the g-file. It's not good for me. I'm minus 4.57 here, or whatever. Well, actually, this says it's minus 3.87. This says minus 4.57. It's bad, no matter how you look at it here. This is a bad situation, and I'm just trying to do something to give myself a little bit of something here to try to work with. So, obviously, the drawback is these pawns suck. This is a weakness. I'm not going to be able to castle anyway, but I do have the g-file. So, he plays this, which is inaccurate. Now, what should you have done? I'm not looking at the computer evaluation, but I think, developing a knight, or maybe even to here, either way. Maybe your bishop just modestly develops right, to here, something like that. You can't go here, yeah, because that bishop. But, get another piece into the game. Your knight, this bishop, something. Just get some pieces in the game. Because the only piece I have in the game is this bishop. Your queen is on a light square. I don't have a knight or a light squared bishop. So you're pretty much untouchable on those light squares. So don't worry about moving him. Get another piece in the game. And then overwhelm me with your extra material, right? Because I have a bad pawn structure. I'm down a piece. I'm underdeveloped, right? I got a bunch of weaknesses here. Just get your pieces in the game, right? So I step to the side. Now, this is important. Okay, I step to the side. I don't block and let myself get pinned. I'm already down a piece, and I don't want to pin another one and take it out of the game. Okay, so I step to the side. Now, this also creates a threat. And the threat is rook to e1. So you have to now waste another move, moving the queen out of the way, or you're going to lose the queen. Okay? And he plays pawn to g5. And I thought about just taking the pawn here. Because you can't take back. Because if I take back here, or I'm sorry, if I go here, I'm going to end up losing the bishop, a rook, and my other bishop, right? So 2 bishops and a rook for a queen. That's not a good trade. But at least here, if I take this, at least, now I've got this bishop's a little bit more active maybe. I at least get a pawn for this bishop. But I played this. I play the rook over. Now, you're going to lose the queen here. There's nothing that could get in between us. You're going to lose the queen. And in this position, you have to kind of say, okay, the queen's gone. How do I get the maximum value for that queen, right? Now, again, the reason that I've done this and not this, because this doesn't really help me that much. It's one pawn. I'm still down a bishop for a pawn. It's not great, okay? At least here, I know that I'm going to give up more material, but at least here, I have a queen and a rook. It's still terrible. It's absolutely, completely lost. But at least I have a queen and you don't. Okay, so that's the reason that I've done that. Now, this is, and again, you're still, it's plus 0.57. So it's just the tiniest bit in my favor, but it's not the end of the world, okay? But he takes. And the problem with this is now it's plus 3.57. And the problem is now I take back and I take with check. Okay? Which means that this bishop is going to survive. Whereas if you take here, I have to take you, and when you recapture, right, now my bishop has been eliminated, and you got a rook and a bishop for the queen. So bishop, bishop, rook for that queen, right? Versus just a rook and a bishop, which a rook and a bishop for a queen is a good trade. Okay, so you know that is really the key moment in the game. Yeah, so he takes, I take with check, and this is really, you know, it was already a bad position, but this is the losing move. This, and remember, whenever I got checked on the e-file, I stepped out of the way. I did not pin myself. Walking into a pin, look, it's not, there's no such thing as like, this is the rule and this is that it's unbreakable when it comes to chess. There's principles and things you should consider and try to do or whatever. Rooks to the 7th, or, you know, bishops are better than knights. These are all kind of general ideas, but, you know, there's nothing that you should just avoid, okay? So when I say that pinning yourself is bad, it's not always bad. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But when you pin yourself, you have to understand and really take into consideration, when I pin myself, what next? What happens next? So, well, if you look at this, the king is the only defender of the bishop. The bishop, by the way, is, you know, it's been taken out of the game. These rooks aren't doing anything. The knight's undeveloped. So while you do have an extra piece, because I got 3 and you got 4, man, fucking that. So anyway, you have an extra piece, but where is it? I mean, none of these pieces are doing anything at all now. And you have to ask yourself when you do this, when you see a pin, is my opponent able to apply more pressure? And in this case, I am. So, you know, in just a matter of a couple of moves, you end up in this position. The king is the only defender of the bishop. The bishop is pinned. It can't take this. So it's hit twice, all right, and defended once, but it can't. The king can't recapture. So now I'm threatening checkmate. So he steps out of the way and I take. And you wanted the bishop to take, but I want to get the queen in here and cause all this mayhem, and that's, you know, what I do. So king goes here. And really, this is the key moment of the game. You know, from here it's, you know, pretty bad as far as, you know, not how he played, but it's just the position is so bad now that there's not much left to do. You know, as far as fighting, right? You can't, you know, you have 0 development. There's no pieces developed in the game. You're down a queen for a rook, I think, at this point. It's bad now. So, but the thing really that I want to highlight, we'll go through the rest of the game, but small details like this, you know, look, when you're, you know, I'm just going to pull a number out of thin air here. You know, when you're 500, these kind of tactical details, you know, like if you take this, then you're going to get the bishop and the rook for the queen. Those kind of tactical details don't mean as much. Because when you're that low of a level, both sides are going to blunder quite a bit. But as you progress up the rating ladder, right, not that I'm at the top of the food chain, but as you get higher and higher, these opportunities are going to come less frequently. And you have to be able to capitalize and then not make another mistake yourself that costs you the game. Okay? So in this position, you have to see you can take this because the queen is already gone. Because the alternative is takes check, and then the bishop survives. So you got to see that. But then the other point is the self-pin. And again, sometimes it's not the worst thing in the world to pin yourself. Sometimes you got to do it. It's the best move in the game. But you have to take into account how dangerous it could potentially get when you do that to yourself. So, anyway, all right, so I took this, and I'm threatening to win the rook. Okay? So the knight has to move now to let the rooks see each other, or you're going to lose a rook, and then it's really bad. So the knight doesn't have a choice. He's got to sacrifice himself. It says this is marginally better, but you're going to lose it either way. He comes over to here. I get the king up so that now my rook has access to the open file. And also, at this point, I probably wouldn't worry so much about this pawn because, just like over here with me, when I was in really bad trouble, look, this pawn ain't going to win the game. You got to get pressure on my king somehow and start making me defend, like a rook here and a rook here. Maybe you double over here, on this file somehow. I spit everywhere. You double over here somehow. You got to try to create threats. You're not going to be able to hold this and hold everything together. So you got to make me defend. So I get the king up so I could get my rook in the game. He does make a threat. But now that makes this move kind of a waste, right? Come over and then come right back. So now you've wasted a move. So I play this, defending the bishop and keeping this pawn from advancing. So this bishop is just kind of hanging out in the middle of the board here, kind of causing some trouble. I'd love if I had a bishop to defend this square, but I don't. So he plays this, and and the computer agrees that taking the open file here is the move. Because, this, it doesn't accomplish a lot. Because I know that I did just blunder a bishop here, but I'm probably not going to just blunder another bishop. And you shouldn't play hope chess and just hope that your opponent screws up somehow. So, getting your piece active here is probably best. So he plays this, and now, since you're not going to take the open file, I will. And if I get the open file, the only way you're going to get on the open file is if you trade rooks. And since I'm up material, trading is good for me. So if you want to come over and get rid of a rook and then just play a rook versus queen and bishop endgame, I would love that. So you don't want to, so casually let me get the open file. So he plays this, and I play here. And the idea was, I think that he's trying to do this. And the point is, now if you play this, check, that's a discovered check. Oh, that doesn't work. Now that I look at it, I just realize I'm an idiot. Ugh. Yeah, no, I'm just stupid, actually. Anyway, that was the thought. Check, I would hit this, and then I'm going to win the rook. But he has that little in-between move right here, so that doesn't work. So, yeah, all right. There goes my master plan. So, all right, now I just play this, kicking the rook, right? He comes over. Now, I don't want him to take these pawns, so I play up. Man, these gnats, dude. And he plays this. Which, look, be combative. That's what you should be trying to do. This I like better, I think. Try to get some pressure here, maybe next to the king, or maybe you get. Well, no, you can't get on this file. Maybe you just go over. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bad position. They like this pawn move, but I think this is about as good as it gets either way. So I play here, and the idea is right. So, if I play this move, then you can just win a pawn, right? So, because I can't recapture. But if I play this move and you take, I have this little in-between move, check, and then I could pick up the pawn. So then we trade pawns. But it also puts pressure on this guy here. So he brings his rook over. Okay. But now, when we get to this position, look at the piece activity. I have the open file. I have pressure with my queen on your second rank. I'm hitting this guy. This bishop's a monster, right? And this rook is, you can't go to this square or this square. Your rook has this square and this square. That's all the activity your rook has. This rook is staring at a pawn that's not attacked. So, I mean, your pieces right now are just not good. So you want to try to keep your pieces as active as possible. And I know, when you think about that, you get 17 moves into a French exchange, and you say, what does that look like? That's such an abstract concept, piece activity. Because there's no, theory that you can pull out at move 17 in the exchange French and say, wow, this bishop here, and you just have to find a way to create, threats, to get your pieces so they see a lot of things, that sort of thing. My queen sees a lot of stuff, right? Your king can't move. He can't come here, or you're going to drop this pawn. I could take this pawn or this pawn if I wanted to. My rook is stopping you from getting the open file. You can't bring a rook here and defend this pawn so you could move the king because my bishop, right? So my pieces are doing a really good job, and yours are not. And that's not like a knock. I'm not trying to beat you up about it, but that's something you want to keep in mind is, when I make this move, right? So like when you go from here to here, right? Am I putting my piece on a better square? Am I more or less active on this square than I was before? Or if my piece sucks, right? For example, this rook's not great. It's kind of doing a job, right? Because if I played this, right, you could take, and now you're threatening to invade my back rank. Check. If I go here, I could see a world where I get myself into some trouble maybe. So I don't want to give you the counterplay. So, but, point is, when you're making a move, you want to think about that. Am I more or less active on this square? And if a piece isn't active, where is a really active square for that piece? So, for example, this rook, where would a good active place be for this rook? How could I improve this rook? Well, if I got it on the open file, that would be good. So how could I get my rook on this open file? And you think about it in those kind of terms, and then you start to kind of formulate a little bit of a plan to get to that square. So, okay, I want this rook on the open file. Well, how do I get rid of this? Why can I not immediately put it on the open file? Well, because this pawn, for one, and this rook. Well, that if you take, it's an even trade. It does fix the pawns, but it's, So, but that's the idea, okay? So anyway, that's the move that he plays. So I do take the pawn, and to me, I've got you kind of tied up in knots. There's not a lot of things you can do here. And if you take this like this, then all your pressure's gone. And I did think that this is a pretty mature thing for him to do. To leave this like this. I don't know if he thought about it like this, but if you take here like this, all your pressure's gone. And really your only threat in the position is just gone. And if you take here, I'm going to take, it's an even trade, and then your pawns are busted, and then your king's on this open file, and it's bad there too. So I thought it was really good that he didn't take here. But I didn't see a clear way, like a clear knockout. So my plan now is pretty straightforward. I have passed pawns right here in the center of the board. This pawn was blocking the path, so I got rid of it. And now I'm going to push this, and I'm going to make you stop me. I mean, it's simple as that. It's rudimentary. It's crude and, not flashy or sexy, but it's effective. If you get passed pawns, and I say this all the time when I talk about endgames, if you have a passed pawn, push the passed pawn. I got a passed pawn, and I'm going to push it. So he plays the king up, and I start pushing. He plays this, and this is a good move. because it hits this, and if I go here, I'm worried about him chipping away, bringing the other rook, and again, allowing him activity. And I don't want to allow the activity. I don't want to allow him to get his pieces active. So I play this. I play this move here. I'm hitting this. This pawn's pinned. Keeps you from advancing it. It's hit twice. If the king were to move, for example, then I could take, right? You got to be cautious or conscious of this pin. So again, if I play here, this isn't very active. This isn't a very active move. I'm hitting, I mean, it's defended, but it's not active. But here, it's very active. I'm still on the same diagonal. I'm putting pressure here. So again, that's definitely something you want to be thinking about when you make it, like when you make a move like this, because I need to defend this. So how do you do it? Well, if I play this, you're going to take that pawn. If I step up, I mean, I guess that's a decent move, but I want to, you know, I could play this, defend it with the queen, because I'm going to push these pawns anyway. So getting this guy out of the way lets me push this. It's defended there. This defends that square. It puts pressure here. This is just a really active move. So that's what I play. And, you know, the threat of taking that pawn is now gone because my queen sees the pawn and defends it. So he adds a defender to the pawn, and I push. I just push now. And now, how do you stop this pawn? It's your move. I'm 2 squares away from getting a queen, another queen. And how do you stop this pawn? And you know, at this point, it's kind of beating a dead horse, and I'm not beating up, like this guy here, I like this guy. Me and him talk a lot and all that, you know, I'm not trying to, I told him earlier that I wanted to make sure this was okay with him before I made this video, because I don't want to rub salt in the wound. You know, you lose a game and then somebody makes a video showcasing everything you done wrong. But, so I'm not trying to beat him up and sound like, you know, whatever, nothing like that. But, you know, how do you stop this pawn? And again, when you're in this kind of a position, I don't have a clear knockout. The top engine move is king to c3. What the hell does king to c3 do? It's not a check. It's not a capture. It's not an attack. What does that do? I don't know. But I do know that if I get another queen, you're in a lot of trouble. Because now I've got this battery, right? Queen, bishop, queen, and everything staring at this. And if we just trade everything off, I'm going to win this end game anyway. So that this puts a lot of pressure on your position, and now you have to think about how to stop it. So if you end up in a position like this, definitely be thinking about how you push this pawn. The king comes back. I push. You got to stop me from getting a queen. I get it. And now you got to give a rook away for a pawn. So he takes. I recapture. He plays this move, and I really don't know why he chose that, because that just, you know, leaves me with a, maybe he wanted to stalemate, I guess. Maybe that's what he wanted to do. I'm not sure. But he plays this, and I just take it. Because I'm up enough material. The more material that I have on the board, the more likely it is that I'm going to stalemate him. And if I take this, I see that I take here with check. I hit 2 more pawns. There's a lot less on the board to stalemate you with. And the board's open enough now. I mean, there's not a whole lot here that I should be able to win with just this queen. So I take that, just getting rid of more material. And here he says that, you know, he said, I don't want to resign. And I was like, well, against somebody your level, I probably wouldn't. And I really did feel bad here, because I know what it feels like to be up, you know, on somebody to win a piece or, you know, whatever, and then lose in the end, especially when it's somebody a lot higher rated and you're like, oh my God, I might actually win this. And then you don't. And I felt really bad here. Actually, and I told him that, you know, that I was going to get another queen, but it wasn't because I was trying to rub it in or be a poor sport or anything like that. There's no way in hell I'm going to checkmate right here. Stockfish could do it in 5, but I ain't Stockfish. So from here, I just get another queen, and it's checkmate. So I thought, though, that this had some really instructive moments, and again, the concepts of pinning yourself and really understanding the danger of doing that. And again, like I said, sometimes it's the best move in the position, and sometimes you need to do it. But you have to evaluate it. before you do it. Daniel Naroditsky says there's 2 keys to understanding if a pin is dangerous. One is this piece defended by a pawn? 2, I don't remember what the fuck 2 was. But there was 2, and I remember one of the 2. So that's why I'm 1,500, not 2,500. But anyway, is your piece defended by a pawn? His was not. It was defended only by the king, which is a poor defender because it can be easily deflected. So, yeah. Pinning yourself, and then also this little tactical detail here, just one more time. Also, from here, this check just wastes time. Overwhelming. Get your pieces into the game as fast as you can. Prioritize getting your pieces out. And here, you know, you lose the queen, but you have to find the move. Pawn takes f4. You want to get this bishop because you're going to lose the queen anyway. So get the bishop, make me take you, fix the pawn structure a little bit, and get the extra piece. And if you play this way, right, now you're still +1. So you got 2 bishops and a rook for the queen. That's a pretty damn good trade. I would take that. You know. So that little tactical detail, you know, you got to try to see that. But that and pinning yourself is kind of where you went wrong. But other than that, you know, good game, and I appreciate the opportunity to play. And, you know, just real quick, this guy, he was like, I think he was almost 900 when we met a few months ago. And he's came a long way. I mean, he's chasing 1,100 now. He just it's you know, wasn't long ago that he was trying to get 1,000, and I worked with him and on the Caro, and when he learned the Caro, this guy really done a good job understanding the ideas, and he sends me games, and because I worked with him, we got in Discord, and you know, I don't want to say I gave him lessons because I'm not good enough to be teaching any lessons, but I did work with him on Discord and tried to help him. I taught him the Caro, and he really took to it, done good, and his rating has went up. And I'm proud of this guy, man. You know, 1,100. Look, are you going to be in the candidates next time around? Probably not. Probably not. But 1,100 is a respectable score. And, you know, like the way that I always say it is like, you know, if you're just out somewhere, you know, you go to a work function, and somebody has a chessboard there, you're probably going to beat everybody at work at 1,100. At 1,100, you're probably going to beat everybody at work. And, you know, it's a little bit different when you play online because everybody that's on chess.com is just, I'm kind of rambling now. But anyway, I'm going to ramble. It's my video. So, you know, everybody on chess.com is there because we're chess nerds. And we spend way too much time on this, way more than we should. And, you know, it's a little bit different. But in the real world, when you just go out, you know, hanging out at the bar, you're probably better than everybody there. So 1,100 is a good score. And I'm like a proud dad over here, man, watching this guy climb up the rating ladder. So I am really proud of this guy. So anyway, if y'all like that, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And hope y'all learned something, like the review. And I'm looking forward to getting back to a more regular schedule, making these videos again. So see you guys in the next video. See you guys.